Well, let's get into it, shall we?
I'm at the go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. I'm your host,
All right.
Tommy, and today we are going to just kind of react to Dreamcast guy's latest video titled Xbox is blocking Starfield game reviews. And we're just gonna, do my thing. We're gonna react to it. I'm gonna stop the
Tape, this kid needs to be locked away. Dr. Dre, don't just stand there. Operate.
video and give some critiques and, give my feedback on it. Some people just have the ability to give bad opinions. I mean, they're still entitled to their opinions, but, they're just bad. So let's just jump right into it, shall we?
It seems like right now that Xbox is doing something that is just incredibly weird. They have actually blacklisted some of the biggest gaming websites from actually reviewing Starfield.
Wrong. 15 seconds. 15 seconds into the video, and you're already putting out false information. There's no blocking of anything. These, outlets were expecting review codes. They can all simply buy the game and still give their review. They can still give their critique. They just aren't entitled to a review code. And I think that's the crux of what's actually going on. You see, gaming media, they're expected. Now, they expect to get a review code for their websites so that they can give their critiques and their opinions on video games. Movies do it too as well. But I think we're now in a place where this is just how the industry works. The industry has been like this. This is an industry standard. We're expected to get review codes and review it so our review can be out. Guess what? Microsoft and Bethesda, they say, nah. They're going to decide who gets a review code. Just because the review code isn't given doesn't mean they're blacklisting anyone from reviewing the game. You just have to buy your own copy like every other consumer. Let's move on, though.
Some of the largest publications, the biggest YouTubers, are flat out being told, no, you don't get to cover the game. It seems like maybe they're afraid of low review scores, and any critical news sites are just being blocked from even playing it before launch.
If that whole statement is completely false, bad opinion. But in my opinion, I think it's completely false. Because if they were, let's just look at their actions. If they were afraid of review scores, then Phil Spencer wouldn't have been out on many podcasts or one podcast and many interviews being asked and him openly talking about Redfall. If they were so terrified of a review score, he would have avoided that completely. They would have avoided talking about the failure of Redfall completely. So this whole narrative of they must be really terrified of a score, that whole thing is dead.
Now, I want to talk about this not for some console war BS, but I guess I've just never seen this before. I've never seen a company so terrified of low review scores.
So you went from assuming to now making that's what your judgment is. That's what your stance is now. You went from assuming within just a couple of seconds, it seems like they might be, and then, oh, they are. This kind of, like, people that eat this up, people that listen to others, give their opinion, and they take it as, like, the gospel, you have to really critically think and make your own decision on this stuff. Within a couple of seconds, he went from maybe this is why to this is why. It's really crazy also for him to sit there and say big YouTubers aren't getting review codes either, as if they were expected to get them in the first place just because of their popularity, just because of how much traffic they drive to their channel. Come on, man. You got to be really full of yourself if you're really thinking this way.
So I actually spotted this first thing when I woke up this morning, and I thought it was very peculiar. Eurogamer and Starfield. Why our review will be late?
No one cares. I'll tell you why. Actual people who play video games for the enjoyment of video games aren't running to places like Eurogamer or Metacritic to make the decision for them whether they should buy a game or they shouldn't. They also aren't going to YouTube channels to get the people's opinion to let that person make the decision for them.
In it, they essentially just spell out the fact that for whatever reason, they were flat out denied access to the game itself. But don't worry, it's about to get 50 times weirder. Now, before you actually put this in the comments, yes, I am going to be reviewing Starfield myself. I'm a big person. I love actually diving into Bethesda games. I do a lot of reviews. I'm a huge fan of RPGs, so I've been incredibly curious about it.
You've also been very critical, saying it's very empty. Starfield is very empty. Look at all these planets. I happened to catch his I think someone made some clips on his live stream when he was critiquing the 45-minute Starfield direct or whatever, and he was pretty much shitting on the game. But now he wants to review it because he's such a fan. It's the hypocrisy, man.
Even if those leaks have been bad, but we're going to talk about the leaks here in a minute. But people have actually been talking about the fact that it seems like what they're trying to do is they're trying to get an inflated Metacritic score. Occasionally, if you feel like your game maybe isn't as spectacular and 10 out of 10 as you hope, you hand select the different outlets.
Or maybe some of these outlets are known to be very, very critical of Microsoft or Xbox to the point where it is no longer just an opinion, it's more of an attack. I don't really personally know. I'm sure if I just did some research on some of these, places, these outlets, SkillUp or Eurogamer, I'm sure they've been very, 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 very critical, maybe overly critical of Microsoft or Xbox in the past. And just because you're a media outlet or you're a popular YouTube, it doesn't mean that you're entitled to anything free, like a review code. You shouldn't expect it. What you should be is grateful if you get something. That's what it should be, but that's not the world that we live in right now. And a lot of these gaming journalists or these gaming websites that cover news or reviews, and a lot of these YouTubers that are salty about this stuff, they're getting a rude awakening when it comes to this.
We've seen this in the past. It's basically a tactic to make sure that you get a 90 on Metacritic.
Sure.
Even if your game more normally might get like a 78 or something like that.
Metacritic ain't that important.
That's what they managed to do with
It's
Halo
not that
Infinite.
important.
If
it was that important, then there wouldn't be a thing called review bombing. Am I right? So I don't understand this. Anyone can go on Metacritic and leave a review. How are they actually controlling the Metacritic score? By not giving out free review codes.
Sending the review codes to fanboys, but they're blacklisting people like SkillUp.
It's not a blacklist.
Yeah, this is crazy. SkillUp, in my opinion, one of the best independent reviewers on the planet. He tweeted this and then deleted it when it started stirring up a lot of negative conversation. But
why? Why is that? My review will be well after launch. See you then. So what? How about this? The review will be out when it's out. See, here's the problem. People want to review games before the games are even out. It's like big news. People want to report on something, whether it's accurate or not. They just want to be the first people to get it so they can get those clicks and those views, man. That's what it is. That's what you're seeing. A lot of salty people. Dreamcast guy seems to be one of those people.
But it said, I will not be getting a review code for Starfield from Bethesda. As such, my review will be well after launch. See you then. Obviously, this I think is super. It's just so chill. I mean, he's being calm. He's just being like, "Yep, I'm gonna review the game when the review is done." Now, I feel like
I'm going to review the game when the review is done. What kind of statement is that? No, you just have to buy the game or buy Game Pass, and you can play the game and review it. Expecting a review code is super entitled.
part of their fear is that Xbox needs this to be the best game ever. I mean, I'm being a little bit silly here, just to
Silly here.
Be goofy and hyperbolic.
No, you're doing it to console war. That's why you're doing it. Let's be real. Don't beat around the bush, man.
But Xbox themselves admits the fact that 2022 had no games. Xbox pretty much didn't do anything all of last year. In fact, they even say here, for the last 2 years, they've just been trying to ship games, and they've kind of been flopping in that regard.
What does that matter?
This is the beginning of the Xbox Series X generation with Starfield and Forza. They got more stuff coming after that. I don't know what Towerborn is or Ara, but yeah, Hellblade looks great. But look.
Yeah, let's just forget about Hellblade. Let's forget about Fable. Let's forget about Avowed. Let's forget about these other games that are, in the works. Let's just forget about those because it's all about Starfield. This is when the Xbox Series X is actually starting, not the 3 years prior.
The head of Xbox is admitting on camera that now the games begin. Starfield doesn't just need to be good, it needs to be big. Now, here's where things get extra crazy in my opinion. So, Digital Foundry is part of Eurogamer. They do all sorts of technical breakdowns, pixel counts, frame rate tracking, stuff like that. They're obviously, in my opinion, the best of the best when it comes to actually seeing the specifications and graphical capabilities of a game. So, Digital Foundry got a code for Starfield, and they work for Eurogamer. They specifically were told they are not allowed to let other parts of Eurogamer play it. They actually said directly, hey, you guys can play it. Don't let any reviewers touch the game. Don't let any reviewers see the game. Don't let any journalists start writing guides. Don't let any journalists actually talk about glitches or gameplay loop or anything like that.
It's almost like they gave it to the people, right? That actually can go in and deep dive on the performance, bugs, resolution, all the important stuff that gamers really care about. Instead of people's opinion, the guys from Eurogamer who just, they like the console war, they like to stir the pot to get clicks as well. Keep it away from those guys. Only you guys can review it. And you let us and everyone else know how we did. Why is that a problem? That's my big thing. Any company can pick and choose who they want. This is the big thing, man. These companies, these media outlets, these YouTubers are so entitled that they expect free games to review, especially review them first. It's really exhausting, and that's why I don't watch a lot of this stuff, man.
This is real. This is from Eurogamer.com. They are actually saying, okay, we want you to do a technical breakdown, but don't actually discuss the game itself.
There you go. There's nothing wrong with that. Microsoft's completely in their rights to do so.
This is insane to me.
Of course it would be insane to you.
I've never seen anything even like this. But wait, let's actually go through a bunch of websites that have additionally been blacklisted. The Guardian is not being allowed. That's kind of baffling. Previously, this lady, Keza McDonald, she worked at Kotaku for years. Bethesda did not like Kotaku.
Oh, what do you know? Someone who used to work for Kotaku now works for The Guardian. And she most likely painted or tried to paint Bethesda or Xbox in bad light. Let's be real. Who's going to Kotaku for anything? Nobody. So I don't know if anyone else knows this, but just because people work for game companies or, they're CEOs of companies, they're humans like us, right? So they can hold grudges if they want. And they can also, this is the more important thing, decide who gets a review code for their game.
I mean, a bunch of people don't like Kotaku, but they're actually blacklisting anybody who's even
It's not a blacklist.
mildly been critical of them 10 years ago.
And they are allowed. It's in their right to do so.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. Edge Magazine is also being denied a review
Who cares?
code.
What's
This is
Edge Magazine?
It's baffling to me. So, Eurogamer just flat out not getting it.
No one cares.
It's so weird to me because we're also getting these leaks that people have been posting a lot. Now, they're getting taken down pretty quick, but I tweeted this out. This tweet actually went pretty viral. But I said, it's very interesting to see how Starfield looks. I'm curious how it's going to review when the Metacritic comes out. The leaked gameplay of empty planets and invisible walls is very different from the trailer footage.
It's almost like someone ran in a straight line to the edge of a boundary limit on the map versus the trailer footage. Of course it's going to look different.
I still think it'll average about a Metacritic of an 85.
Well, not from what you said earlier. Xbox they're controlling the score of Metacritic, so the 85, it's got to be in the 90s, right, if they're controlling it.
And I stand by that because...
So wait, you stand by that, knowing all the information that you have now, having the conspiracy that they're trying to do this to control their Metacritic rating, but then now you still stand by this. Make it make sense.
This guy originally said, I really think that Bethesda should have made it clear before launch that you can't do one interrupted run around a planet. It's actually really weird that they've never mentioned this until it got leaked, and I'm one of the people excited for Starfield. Some of the major leaks that have been coming out, because there have been a lot of them, is that you can land on a planet, you can run around on a planet. 90% of the planets are completely empty. This is math directly from Bethesda. They actually said, hey, you're going to be able to run around, and some stuff's going to have plants and animals.
And this has been known. We've all known this. We have known this for months.
Life in cities, but 90% of planets are just barren. They're just rocks out in space. But if you choose to land on them, then you can run around and have some fun. But there's invisible walls that lock you into the map space. You kind of land on this procedurally generated space. You walk around for a bit until you bump into the walls, and then you take off and leave.
Till you bump into the walls. Well, you're painting this picture like it's something small, like it's some little sandbox that you're dropped into. And then you have boundaries. Like, that's what you're painting it as when you speak like this. That's not what it is.
And I basically was saying, that doesn't sound like a big epic space adventure to me.
So wait. It didn't meet an expectation that you had for your own self. And the game isn't even out yet. Interesting. It's really interesting.
But maybe it's more fun to play than it is to see someone in a spacesuit just running around on, literally 800 different empty moons.
Maybe it's fun to play instead of watching someone. Wow, that's a concept that I've never heard of this. Actually playing the game to get the enjoyment out of it? Finding out for yourself instead of watching a leaked video of someone running straight in a line?
But here's the last one I wanted to look at. A lot of people are beginning to talk about the fact that Todd Howard
we know.
is a bit of a BSer. I mean, obviously...
Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that.
A lot of these
we know.
videos actually breaking down and
Everyone
combining a
lies.
lot of his most free, which is a master endings. 10% of habitable planets, 90% empty, barren planets, saying that you can go anywhere or do anything. I don't think that Starfield is going to be this big revolutionary game. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. People are going to be playing it for a bit, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be like Fallout 4. I think
it's going to be fine. It's going to be like Fallout 4. Why are you so critical of it then? So critical. It's just that extra salt, I think, that you didn't get a review code. These places that you may like going to get your information didn't get a review code either. And you think this is a hit piece, something to talk about. No, it's really not. It's really not that important. Microsoft and Xbox, Phil Spencer, whoever's doing it, they're doing what they're entitled to do. They have the right to give out their game free to whoever they want to as a review copy. They can pick and choose who it goes to and who it doesn't. And you know what's interesting about this? Sony can do it too. That's the crazy thing. It's a baffling concept to really wrap your head around.
I think it's going to be remembered exactly the same way that people remember Fallout 4, where you go, hey, that was good, and then we moved on. I have seen some people overly obsessively fixating on Starfield.
You don't say.
Like positive and negative. Some people acting like this is going to be the game they're going to play for the rest of their lives. That's definitely not going to happen. And then also there have been some weird like Nintendo Switch fanboys and PlayStation fanboys that have just been literally trolling every single positive post about the game. I stand by my fact. I think this game is going to get an 85. It's going to be fine. People are going to enjoy it, and then they're going to move on.
One debt to society later.
Give us a demo. Show us that gameplay. Give out a bunch of review keys. Just really shout from the rooftops how special your game is. And Starfield is definitely not doing that. They're very careful about who is allowed to talk about it.
Anyone can talk about it. If you didn't get a review code, you can still talk about it. You are literally talking about it right now. And if you didn't get a review code, you don't have a review code, you know what you can do? And you've already said it. You're still going to play it. And how are you going to play it? You're going to buy it. Or you're going to play it on Game Pass, which you've paid a subscription to. So you can still review it. They're not picking and choosing. You can literally still buy the game and review it like everyone else.
Which is just very odd. But what do you guys think
It's not
about
odd.
it? Are you excited for Starfield? Do you like the fact that there's going to be a very limited scope of reviewers? If you like Xbox,
I don't
you're
give a
allowed to
shit.
play the game. If you've ever criticized Xbox, hands off. You're not allowed. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoy...
It's so cringe. It's so cringe. The whole video is just full of bad takes. It's just... But there you go. That's my thoughts. That's my reaction on good old Dreamcast guy claiming that Xbox is blocking journalists and gaming news outlets from reviewing their game when they can literally just buy a copy of it and review it. It's very simple. But that's it. If you like the video, let me know down below. Do all the things. And as always, it's been your boy. It's been real, and I'm out. Later.